up, COJ? How you guys doing this evening? It's that time of the week again. It is Thursday. It's time for Grif Riffs. Let's rip through the chat here real quick. How's it going, Mike, Esteban, Pendergast, Goofball, Shaggy, Jamie Lynn, Tio Mike, 3M? How you guys all doing? How's it going? If you're paying attention at all last night, you will know that I am not going to be here by myself tonight. For the second night in a row, we have our good buddy, Joe.
What's up, Tony?
What is going on?
Not much, man. Not much. How you doing today?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
Hope everybody's well. Everybody's doing well in the COJ.
Yeah, well, yes. Hopefully that's the case. It has been a trying couple of weeks for me with trying to get rest. Hopefully I'll get a little more tonight. So I know you guys I know Dave went through his haul last night. So thankfully, because I'm impatient, 95% of all my stuff is open. So I'm just going to rip through it real quick. This is a combination of pile of loot and my Kane County stuff. So I will just kind of fly through it. I won't spend a lot of time on some of them because I know some of you guys have seen some of this on the show already, but got that sweet, sweet new Casey Jones from Last Ronin. Let's see here. I did get the Todd Father and the original Spawn 2-pack. They're both really, really, really nice figures. I was quite surprised at how much effort they actually put into Todd. And a lot of the times the sculpts don't translate very well, but I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but I think they did a pretty spot on job with Todd. And then I was expecting this to be a whole bunch of reuse. I mean, they might be a little bit, but I mean, this is pretty cool. Kind of like that piece of it's like having the Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man, it's like where it all started. So that's a pretty cool set. Still a pile of loot. So I had to pick I picked this up over the weekend. I was super stoked to have a Piper in my collection finally. I've been kind of waiting for a really good one, and this one did not disappoint. I picked that one up on the way down to Kane County. Another pile of loot. You've all seen that. Sure, you've all seen this. Picked this up on the way down to Kane County as well. Got the big boa. I got this guy, super dope. I think Dave showed off his, but
yeah, he's great.
So I mean, and it's crazy how big it is. And I'm sure Dave also showed off his Krang as well. I got that. It's insane how big these are in comparison to. I guess I don't have any. You can, as a standard Origins figure. I mean, even he's tall because of his head, but it's pretty awesome. And then let's see what else. I picked up this cool little animated style Godzilla.
Oh, hell yeah.
I was like, yeah, you can't go wrong with that. I don't know where it came from, if it was from a set or something. Just says China on it, so I'm like, cool, take it.
Can you put that closer for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen that one.
I guess I can't. The coloring makes me think that it's meant to be like the animated Godzilla, but and the short spikes, but
it's got that smile like the animated. So,
and then I found this Imaginex glow in the dark swamp thing to go in my glow collection. And then I picked this up at Meeps Meepleton's. A really, really nice Afterburner, I think is his name. It was just one of the Transformers I had as a kid, and I saw it, and I was like, okay, that's got to come home with me. I got this for free at Kane County. So I was like, yes, I love me some Iron Giant, so I will take that. I picked this crazy dude up. It's like the Ink Demon or something from Bending Ink Machine. And I was just like, I think that's pretty cool.
That's a nice, like, for the stuff that they put out for Bendy and the Ink Machine. That's a nice creepy looking one. That, like, most of them were a little too.
So, like, the new series that they have coming out is they seem to be a lot nicer than the previous ones, which I think were Funko.
Yeah.
And these ones are done by Jax.
Oh, okay.
So everything Jax has been doing lately is it's definitely getting way better, because then I also picked up the Alter Beast werewolf dude, and I mean, this is pretty nice for what it is, for just being like a 3 3/4 little figure. I was honestly hoping for more for my first Altered Beast figure, but I'm not gonna. Oh, Fat Mojo did the bendy stuff. Okay. I think, well, maybe, I know they've done a few different times, so I think it might have been Funko too. I feel like they did some. But I could be wrong. And then I did also get the sweet Chadwick Boseman Wakanda Forever Spawn figure.
Oh, very cool.
Which is not really a figure, definitely more of a statue. Has no articulation, none whatsoever. Surprise, surprise.
See that Todd McFarlane should only have like 2 points of articulation.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Just one leg moves and his head.
And then I got Papa Emeritus III from Super 7. So now I have all 3 of them that have come out. And yeah, Altered Weast, yes. So I did get this too, which is the not Mighty Max thing. I was actually expecting it to be a little bit bigger, but I'll take it. Right. It's cool. So, it definitely looks like it was like it could have been 3D printed or something. But it's, the paint apps on it are nice. Nothing's not painted. So, and it's cool because Max has the little dagger in his hand there. I don't know how well that shows up. There you go. So when you close the hat, it actually becomes the other tooth in the hat, which is kind of cool. And then this is probably one of my favorite things I got. Got this from the Kaiju Days Otaku booth at Kane County. It is a little raccoon in an acorn tank. And I just couldn't say no. Let's see.
Yes. So Mitch was right. It was Fat Mojo, and then there was some baubles done.
Oh, okay.
Some
Gotcha.
baubles done for Funko too. But yeah, those black box ones.
I had
from, like, the
swore
first
up
series.
and down that there was they were made by Funko because Funko makes everything. But yeah, the Fat Mojo ones were they were not real great in comparison. This is probably another one of my favorite things I got. Got a big ol'
Oh hell yeah!
12-inch Imperial Godzilla. I need to take some hot water to his face because it is a little. Let's see if I can do this without railing my. It's a little warped.
He's got a good smile.
A little, but yeah, it's in surprisingly really good condition for being from 1985, and I'll take it. I used to have. Well, I have one now because I bought one like 2 years ago. But I used to have like a little version of this guy, and I now do again. So it was cool to find a big one. And then I've got like the knockoff Godzilla that's blue. And then it just has like regular like fins instead of his spines, so they're just like shark fins down his back. And then I have a red knockoff Gigan, which was pretty cool too. I've had those since I was a kid.
I love some of those knockoff kaiju figures from that line.
And then I did pick this up, or this was in my pile of loot. It's the big ol' orc shaman. So I thought he was super cool. And I finally got the counterpart to my big green dragon.
Oh wow!
So this guy is awesome. If he's anything like the blue or the green one, the blue one's gonna be rad. So, and yeah, that is about it.
That's a good haul though.
Yeah, I mean it was wasn't as big as previous years, but sometimes it's quality over quantity, right?
Yes. Those mythic legions are still killing me. I just can't. I can't do it. It's just gonna be, tapping the vein if I do it.
It's real hard. Because like at the end of the day, like if I had it my way, I'd buy every single one that comes out. But being that one, I really don't like doing the Kickstarter method of, well, with the Horsemen, they're to a point now where it's not Kickstarter, it's more like made to order. Because obviously, like the first 3 or 4 waves, they went through Kickstarter, and now they just do their own thing. Yeah, I just I can't throw money at people and wait a year plus for some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I usually pick them up on Big Bad Toy Store. I pay that little premium, but I don't have to pay it up front.
Right.
Let's see. Some people were chiming in here. Oh, I forgot to bring it down. I'm still not 100% sure if I'm going to open it. I probably will because that's who I am. But there's a part of me that's like, maybe I don't. So I don't know. Yes, that is the from the band Ghost. Yep. And yeah, that hat was, I was expecting it to be, about that big instead of it just being like one of the little micro sets that they used to put out. And that is a good thing to know, Mitch. Yes, thank you. A little, is that me? I can't tell. I think that's a picture of me. Did Dave make stickers for me? Yes, I am very excited. I do want to see a comparison next to them. Because he definitely looks like he's bigger. He definitely looks bigger than the turtles, but I'm still not 100% sure how much bigger. Yes, I will. I'll have to take some pictures of those guys and put them on my Instagram with my big Imperial and my little one. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, you order them retail the like regular price from them, but you pay up front. So that's my whole thing is it's like, okay, at this point in time, you guys are making enough money. You guys generally know how many units you guys sell. It's like just make it and then put it out. Don't require us to fund you guys to to get your stuff going. That's just my whole thing. I don't know. I can't tell what that little picture is. I'll have to ask.
I can't tell.
Oh, no, not you. It's someone else making a stupid face. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, it could have very well have been me making a stupid face too. So I don't know. But yeah. So the reason Joe is here tonight, for those of you that have not watched or don't care about spoilers, we are going to talk about the Fallout TV show because Joe is a super fan of Fallout. I have like this much knowledge of the lore, but I'm not. I haven't hardcore sat down and played it. So it was. I was in my interest to have Joe on and get his thoughts because if you're a super fan of something, and I mean I loved the Fallout show. I thought it was great. Again, just knowing the little bit that I know, it seemed to follow like the lore pretty well. I feel like there were times where they made it feel like it was like the video game a little bit, where there would be some dialogue and it would kind of stop for a second. It was almost like they were choosing A, B, or whatever the controls were to make, so it was, to me, it was good. I joke that the only thing that I didn't like was the fact that the power armors never needed to have their power cells changed out. And that it was, to me, it was weird that they could run an entire vault off of a power cell. I don't know.
So I never went so deep into the lore that I could understand everything. Like my buddies, like I got a couple of buddies who like have the Star Trek guys who can like tell you exactly what the power of a dilithium crystal is, But I always assumed that the because like when you put the cell into a suit, it runs out of power quickly. So I always assumed that there was some kind of generator when you're running it, like running a vault off of it, that it had to have some kind of generator, like an alternator adding power to it. And it was like a core battery. Like it was like basically like a fuse that held power. But they did some weird things. I really did enjoy the show all in all, but they did some, I'm bugging out. No, I enjoyed the show, all like a lot of it. They did some things that they didn't do enough bad that would have pissed me off. Like how I'm worried about, say, the Borderlands movie. Like horribly worried about that. Looks like they're just gonna fuck the dog on that really bad. But
It's definitely one of those ones where I feel like, because again, I'm super excited for that movie. From that one trailer I saw, I was like, okay, this looks like it could be good. But then I sit there and I go, like, and I know that like everybody that's in it is meant to be a character from the game. Right? Because like Kevin Hart's character is a character from the game, correct?
Yeah, weird choice, because I mean, the video game dude is just massive.
Yeah.
But
because he was like, he's like the dwarf, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He's the massive dude.
It's just one of those things where, and then when you read that the gal who's playing Tiny Tina is modeling her character off of Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, I'm like, well, why wouldn't you just model it off of Tiny Tina from the video game? Like, you should really sit down and just play through Tiny Tina's Wonderland, because that's probably the best game in my opinion out of all of them.
It wasn't long enough.
No,
long enough for the amount you spent on it, but
yeah,
that was great. I love Tiny Tina's Wonderland. That was wonderful. But I don't want to ruin too much for anybody who hasn't seen Fallout all the way through.
Well, we still got 26 people in here watching, so either they don't care or
yeah, if they don't care, there's going to be, we'll spoil it for you.
Yeah,
because there's that last episode was a chef's kiss. That was
and like I was like talking to my brother, because he's a massive fan of the game. Like, he's logged probably thousands of hours into the game. He's played through it like 6 or 7 times. He really enjoyed it. And, we were talking and I'm like, well, do you think that majority of the show is going to take place in New Vegas for the next season, or will it just be like a one and done type of thing? And again, because this is set the furthest in the timeline, we don't know what the state of New Vegas is even.
Because New Vegas takes place between 3 and 4.
Yep.
And
this takes place like 20 years after 4.
Yeah, only 20 years after. So what? It depends on what they're going with. Like the Robco executive, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's the Robco exec who runs New Vegas.
Yeah.
Is he there still? Is the what was he? He was having trouble remembering what he was. It's been a long time since I played New Vegas.
Yeah, that's actually one of the ones that I didn't play, surprisingly.
In New Vegas, even though it's buggy as all hell, still it is probably the best storyline.
That's what I've heard is 4's the best playable game.
Yeah.
And New Vegas has probably got the best story. But I feel like the reason why it has the best story is because you're playing essentially as an established character. Whereas
lone survivor.
Yeah, whereas in the 3, 4, and 76 or whatever, you're playing as your creative character. There's a little bit of story there, but not as much. But and then like me and my brother were talking, because obviously they show the what you call it, the Deathclaw skull.
Yeah.
And and it's like, wow, they really, because when they were showing that one recording and the thing trying to get out of the door, and I was like, oh sweet, is this going to be a super mutant? Is this going to be a Deathclaw trying to get out or whatever?
Yeah. Oh, with the gulper.
Yeah, and then it just ended up being a gulper, you know, which again was still a pretty cool creature, but I mean, like I feel like all we got was that the rad
Yeah.
roaches and the ghouls.
Yeah, they gave us the super mutant hand in episode 1, you know. Super mutant hand hanging off the gurney. Was that
I
episode
must have
1 or
missed
2?
that.
Yeah, so when the scientist is working with the dog, and he's, you know, when he's working with his dog, he's in that big facility, and they're wheeling a cart down past him, and a hand flops out of it, and it's a big green hand with giant claws on it. So it's a super mutant hand, and I think what they're going to be doing is making mutants in a vault, just like they were making gulpers in the vault, and that's kind of weird, you know. That's the man-made. I don't think gulpers were man-made. I think they were radiation, radioactive salamanders. So
Well, and then so again, I've been doing some digging and stuff, and I can't remember the name of the facility, but this specific facility is where the super mutants came from.
yeah,
And that would have been on the East Coast. And so then, you know, I was like talking to my brother and this and that. And I was like, are there super mutants in New Vegas? He's like, oh yeah. And I was like, okay. I mean, I guess it doesn't surprise me that they would just wander after they've been created or whatever. But, you know, I feel like they would have to be maybe rarer out west.
you would think so.
But, you know, because that was the whole thing is like I was reading and they were saying like, you know, the super mutants would kidnap people and then throw them in the like vat to turn them into super mutants or whatever.
Yeah.
So they had all that crazy stuff and you know, just to see like you know, to find out what was going on in was it 31?
Yeah.
Was where they were all in cryo sleep and stuff.
Yep.
And then
they gave us a brain on a Roomba. I love the fact that they gave us a brain on a Roomba.
Yeah.
Like that was fantastic.
Well, really and I always forget what the dude's name is. But the guy who voices Cogsworth or whatever.
Oh, Matt Berry.
Matt Berry, yes. Yeah. God, that was so great. When I first heard him talk, I was like, no way. And that's the other thing that I absolutely loved about the show was all of the random cameos.
Yeah.
They did a really, really, really good job of keeping all of that under wraps. Like I had no idea any of these guys were going to be in there, you know, to have Chris Parnell, which is funny because as I watch, I literally think he's just Jerry with one eyeball. And I just kept waiting for Rick to come walking by in the background or something. And then to have Michael Rappaport being, you know, Knight Titus.
Yeah.
And I always forget what his name is, but the guy who was the guy that ran the radio tower. He was on Saturday Night Live for years.
Oh, it's the guy he did Portland. He was in Portlandia. Yeah. Why am I blanking on his name right now?
Yeah, I always forget.
Yeah,
because he was in the last two Jay and Silent Bob movies.
Yeah.
He was the guy that made what were they called? What were they? Chicken tender things or something?
I can't remember.
It was so weird.
What is his name? See, I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah, it's gonna bug
somebody
in the chat will know who we're talking about.
Yeah. So I think they did a great job of giving us video game nostalgia without like doing like a overload of it. Like, man, my brain is just not clicking today.
Yeah, it's
the show with the Upside Down. What was
Fred Armisen? That's it.
Yeah, good job, Boo.
Thank you guys.
What's the show with the Upside Down?
Stranger Things.
Yeah. Jesus, brain.
Yeah.
like that. Like the last season I watched of it was like I didn't watch this last season, but the season before, whatever season that was, it was like such a ridiculous overload of things from the 80s. Like it was just like, do you remember this? Do you remember this? Do you remember this? Do you
Yeah.
remember this? It was like I was like, I can't even watch this. Like,
Yeah, it
if
was
I
like
watch
literally
this,
like, hey guys, like as you just like walk by in the background with something, you're like, did you see?
right?
I gotta walk by again and make sure you see this GI Joe figure.
How does this make you feel?
Yeah,
But
no, they
I thought, they popped in the Blamco mac and cheese. They gave us some decent Nuka-Cola references. They,
yep.
they were just giving us all that little stuff, just sprinkling it on without really killing us. I love the fact that when Lucy is showing her abilities in the first episode, she's showing what she can do. She is actually showing what makes her special. She's showing her special abilities, which is fantastic. They were showing her character build.
Yeah.
I really dug that. I like the fact that like they have 3 characters that seems like, Lucy's a good playthrough, Maximus is a neutral playthrough, and the Ghoul is an evil playthrough. I mean,
but then it all kind of starts to shift strangely because then
even
now,
when you try to play through good, you still fuck it up a lot.
Yeah.
You still
and
like,
the
I
way,
should've killed that guy.
yeah, the way that it ends, I mean, Walter Goggins, my God, that guy just slayed that role. It's ridiculous. And on both spectrums, when he was his normal self and now as the Ghoul. And it's cool because they use that character to kind of finally give us some backstory and reference to a lot of stuff that happened that we have never known about, and that we now know that he is the Vault Boy.
Yeah.
That's his image. That's where he's like, and it's crazy like that they literally had his daughter go like that, and because that was the thing is if the mushroom cloud is bigger than your thumb, there's no point in going anywhere,
Yeah.
And then to watch that and just be like,
that was a really, when I was a kid, they had this show called The Day After Tomorrow. Did you ever hear The Day After Tomorrow? Did you ever see that? When everybody was terrified of nuclear war.
So, okay. I thought you were talking about the one where the like superstorm froze the earth and stuff.
No. I think it was called The Day After Tomorrow, and it was like this 80s like
fear mongering.
Yeah, fear mongering 80s like Cold War era like
sure
movie about nuclear bombs going off. And when I was a kid, terrified the shit out of me.
Oh, sure.
Terrified me. Of course, I revisited a few years later just because like this was one of the scariest movies I've ever watched in my life. When I was a kid, I watched it again. I was like, this is one of the biggest pieces of crap I've ever seen in my life. It's just all propaganda and like I'm talking like World War II cartoon era propaganda levels of it. But I think of like that was like what a nuclear explosion was in my childhood, and then I think about what they did with those nuclear explosions in that show, and it was beautiful. That was beautiful. I can't believe Amazon put as much money into it as they did.
Oh, it's called, apparently the one you're talking about is The Day After.
The Day After, right? Okay.
I was again, my brain's not working.
Yeah, just The Day After.
So take it to the max, pop that up. He's like, you're thinking of The Day After. Well, in my brain, I read Take as Tony, and then it's like, Tony, you're thinking of The Day After, and I'm like, oh no. We're not gonna be gaslighting here. I know that movie where there's the storm and everything freezes is called The Day After Tomorrow.
But did the Soviets do it?
Yeah.
I mean, trying to think of something else, like just anything else. One thing that bugged me is there was no fusion-driven vehicles that anybody could blow up, because I don't know, half of my time is spent blowing up cars in Fallout 4 just to watch the little mushroom cloud.
Yeah. Well, and the craziest thing about it is, especially with the way the way that show started, right? Like clearly something happened,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm guessing it's going to be that the ghoul, when he was normal, obviously got busted.
Yeah.
And they're going to think that he's a communist because he was spying on them. Because they obviously talk, you know, like when he's at the party and they start saying all this stuff to him. So it's interesting that we didn't even get to that yet. So like that chunk of the story is still coming, you know, like
Yeah.
they definitely built a lot of like answered some questions, but created probably 50 more, you know.
I'm gonna tell Josh that we're talking the Fallout TV show. He just popped up and asked what's going on. So
yeah, and then I ripped through all my stuff that I got at Kane County real quick. But you know, I mean, no, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, man.
I was just gonna say it was cool that, you know, that we obviously had the dog.
Yeah.
You know, and he makes the, you know, the reference, you know, he calls him, he's like, dog meat, you're not him. Yeah, and he's obviously making reference to his dog, but he's making reference to us that that dog is not in fact dog meat.
Yeah, and then there's somebody in town
selling dog meat, yeah.
Selling dog meat, yeah, saying dog meat. And my son was like, don't you dare kill the dog.
But now the interesting thing is again, because this takes place further in the timeline, we find out about, was it Shady Sands or whatever it was called?
Yeah, Shady Sands.
Like obviously at some point, like these people came up out of the vaults and had a city that they were living in, and it got destroyed again. So like,
yeah, I think they bring up Shady Sands in New Vegas. I want to say they bring up Shady Sands in New Vegas because it is the capital of the new Republic of California.
Yeah.
And so somewhere between there.
Yeah. And so that's what I'm saying is it'll be interesting to see if they tell that story, because like we always just assumed that the war happened, that bombs dropped and everybody went underground, came back up, everything was a wasteland. But then we find out at some point in time, these people came out and they had a normal ass city that they were living in, but still got bombed to high hell again.
Yeah, because there was Reclamation Day was. I'm trying to think on the timeline when Reclamation Day was. Must have been. It had to be before Fallout 3, where like the first few vaults were popped open on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
I did like I think it was episode 2 where Lucy stumbles out and we see an Assaultron's head, the single eye of the Assaultron.
Mm-hmm.
So and you know that's kind of the same way they gave us the Deathclaw head, just but Assaultron. So now that's implying
the synths.
The synths, yeah. And I think in that last episode when they're talking about nuking the world, I'm pretty sure they show a silhouetted synth. Just for a second, they show somebody who looks like they got that synth neck.
Yeah.
Like the silhouette of somebody. And I think that's going to be a synth. So I'm wondering who's the synth.
Mike misses you.
Hey, Mike, if you're at Northland, I should be at Northland for at least a while to try to sell some stuff and just hang out as long as the bearing on my car doesn't blow up.
Oh, that's never fun.
Starting to get this weird whirring sound in the back, and it's getting louder and louder. And I'm like, that's a bearing. So I ordered them today, so we'll see.
It's always fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It doesn't stop smoking.
Oh yeah. No. With that, I've driven a car till it exploded. It was not fun. But yeah, it's such a great show. It's so well done. It's so they're so thoughtful on making sure that things are, like being portrayed in the proper way. I will say the other thing that really bugged me was Lucy wearing her like pauldron.
Yeah.
But it was always like
for just a second.
It was always like here, like across her, like, it was like, I'm like, can you please push that back, push it up. It should be across your shoulder, not across your chest.
She's wearing a Raider armor, so it doesn't ever fit right,
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. But
they even gave us like when Maximus crashes at that guy's feet when he's taking a piss, he turns around and he's wearing the Raider cage, which is like one of the stupidest pieces of armor.
And then like just yeah, all the little bits and pieces, like it's like, are we gonna find out who that doctor was?
Which doctor?
Well, the one that turned the squire into a ghoul.
Oh, yeah, I don't know what
or whatever he's gonna be. I mean, I guess we're all assuming that he's gonna be a ghoul, but
the chicken fucker.
But he could turn out to be, maybe he turns into a super mutant, or maybe he turns into a death claw. We don't know what he did to the guy. Because, I mean, I think as far as the game goes, we've always just assumed that the radiation is what turned people into ghouls.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I know the yellow liquid that his like inhaler, that it looks like they just made that up for the show. I've never seen any references to that. It's just the thing that keeps him
from, which again doesn't make sense. Because how long was he buried for?
Right. he wasn't in stasis with his inhaler. He wasn't buried with his inhaler. But
yeah,
I think they said like they had him for like. Thought they said they had him for like 30 years.
Something crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if he just goes to sleep and it doesn't like affect him or whatever, but I don't know. It's crazy. It's good. I think they need to do. That's what
that's a good one.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did have IVs, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. You're right.
Yep.
Yeah. Gotta go to the second watch through. So much stuff that I missed.
Definitely need to watch it again. But and again, going back to how it's set further, there's some people who think that the Brotherhood of Steel merged with Caesar's Legion.
Really?
Yeah, because obviously like Titus, Maximus, and like it seems to have gotten a little bit more fanatical. Like obviously
it's really fanatical.
The one guy who was trying to get the cold fusion from the Brotherhood, with the chains and everything like that. It's like that's really interesting, and apparently like the colors have slightly changed and stuff too. Yeah. So it'll be interesting if we'll find out what happened there. Because that was just one of the things I was reading, is that they somehow the two whatever you want to call them merged together, and that's why things are the way they are now.
I wondered what was Caesar's Legion was red. Wonder if that's why they're wearing the reds. They make it a point of pointing out that he's wearing the Knights red.
Yeah. And then they also all have like all the banners and stuff were all red too. And so, because I mean, again, because my brother, after watching the first episode, he was confused. He's like, they keep saying Philly, like going to Philly. And I'm like, yeah, I don't, they're on the West Coast. because they show like the Santa Monica Pier.
Yeah.
So like she'd have to go really far to get to Philly if you're talking about Philadelphia. But I think that, you know, because I mean, well, obviously, besides New Vegas, I think 3 and 4 both took place on the East Coast, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, you know, just you have the Minutemen and whatever over there. So, I mean, it's just be interesting to see if any of that stuff starts to bleed through because, again, of the time
Right.
jump, you know, or I don't want to say jump, but yeah. Yeah, 76 is in bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah, I honestly don't. I don't know where 76 takes place. It's
yeah, 3 was in DC and 4 was in
like
Boston.
76 is like not let's say Maryland or something like that. Some weird place. Some fucking weird
Appalachia.
Appalachia? Really? See, I don't know as much as I think I do sometimes.
And now, you know, and now the rumor is that Fallout 5 is supposed to take place in Europe.
Ooh, that'd be fun.
Which would be interesting because I don't, as far as we know, or as far as I know, I don't think anybody knows what happened anywhere else.
No.
So, I mean, is it just America that got decimated, you know? It's like you fly over to England, and because if the story be true, it was us that did it to us. So,
see, I'm really confused about like because they're saying like, you know, if I don't think there's any way that they drop the bombs. The woman lets the mother lets the bombs drop with her daughter out with. I mean, she might let the bombs drop when her daughter is out with, you know, the ex-husband, which seems like that's the scenario. It seems like that's an ex-husband scenario at the beginning of it.
But I kind of feel like she doesn't care. I feel like she's so brainwashed that it really didn't matter to her because they knew that she could start over, basically.
Yeah. I like these comments about.
Yeah, I mean,
if the rest of the world
you
is
can
fine.
you can always say one thing and do another. Yeah, that's what I've heard is that there's a lot of landmarks and stuff. Yeah. Well, I mean that's like the whole concept with Mad Max, right? Like we have no idea what the state of the rest of the world is in. We have only ever been in Australia.
And that's kind of what Australia is like anyway.
Appalachia. Right? Did I say it right, Josh? Appalachia, not Appalachia. I mean, it's kind of where we're at right now, for the most part.
Well, I don't think the rest of the world's quite a utopia.
Well, I mean,
Scandinavian countries might be okay.
Yeah, they'll be the first ones to start turning people away.
But what else
was
was happening?
It was Appalachia.
Trying to think of other things. Like I gotta watch through that show again because I was doing this so much. I was like, ooh, you know, I was doing so much like giddy little giggling and stuff. I was so excited.
Well, I love when the bear comes out. He's like, shit,
the
shit. He's running away from it.
I like the having the Yaogwai show up was fantastic. You know, that's especially since there's no bears in California anymore, I don't think, unless they're in a zoo.
Yeah. And like, I love that they used as much like practical effects as they could.
Yeah. They did a really good job on the ghoul's nose, I tell you. Like,
Yeah.
making his nose look vacant. They did a really good job on that.
And funny enough, that is not the first time he's played a character that didn't have a nose.
What else did he play that didn't have?
I can't remember what the movie is. He looks a lot more like Two-Face in it, kind of. But yeah, he's totally like missing his nose in it as well too. So
See, what I know him from best, what Walter Goggins I know from best is like being Pierce Hawthorne's attorney on Community.
well, see, I remember him from The Shield, and I remember him from um, Sons of Anarchy. He was
Oh, that's right.
yeah,
He
he was
was
a
in Sons of
very
Anarchy.
very interesting character in Sons of Anarchy. He was in Ant-Man and Wasp, the first movie, or the second movie. He was like the bad guy, the tech dealer, the black market tech dealer, Sonny something, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He plays Cecil's voice in Invincible. He's the like the old guy that runs the like. He's like the Nick Fury, basically.
Yeah. It's funny because the guy's been acting
Forever.
forever. He's been acting, and the one thing that makes him is playing the ghoul, because all of a sudden his search was off the charts. And as I said, he must be a fantastic actor. I've said this to you before. He must be a fantastic actor to make the entire internet so wet for a ghoul. I
I
mean,
know. And there was a lot of memes going around. It's like, hey, no, I'm not kink shaming here, but at some point in time, I feel like we really got to dial it back just a little bit.
oh, I wouldn't be surprised what Spike says that. I wouldn't be surprised if Timothy Olyphant.
Oh, for sure. He could absolutely show up as some badass.
Ironically, being shot by the ghoul. Perfect.
Oh, and he was also in Predators too. The one where they kidnap all the like special forces dudes, and he's just like some scumbag guy from a prison. He's walking around with a shank the whole time. He's like, hey man, give me a gun.
I'm trying to think, was 31, 32, and 33, was that the first time vaults were connected?
Well, and see, that's the thing is I was very confused by that. I was like, and I mean, obviously because they're doing different experiments with things, it was like just to kind of it's just so weird because you would think that 31 would have been able to see everything that was going on in 32 and 33. So I feel like 31, the the Roomba, could have contacted the people in 33 and said, don't open your door, but there's been so many like crazy experiments that they've done.
Yeah.
There was like the one where it was just all kids in the vault. And then there was another one where it was like 100 women and one man. And then they didn't.
One woman.
Yep. And then there was another one where they had, I don't remember how many people, but they put a jaguar in with them or something. One man and a crate of puppets.
What was that fucked up one? There was one where they put people in and the computer said that they had to sacrifice.
Yep.
They had to pick the leader of the vault and had to sacrifice him at the end of the year.
Yep.
They just kept sacrificing, and if they wouldn't have done that, the computer
there was never gonna be poison or whatever.
Right. Oh,
I was reading another one too where it was like the overseer knew what was going to happen but didn't approve of it. So when the bombs dropped, like she changed something, but still 3 of the scientists ended up showing up anyways, who were going to be like in a sectioned off part of the vault that nobody could access, so they wouldn't know they were there.
Yeah.
And basically like sealed them in and killed those 3 guys, and then everybody lived in peace in the vault. But it was kind of cool to see that the overseer was the one that was like, nah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, I always have that problem with going in there, finding out that it's a.
Jumpsuit.
I go into those vaults and I find a bunch of like the one where you got the brain on the Roomba vault in Fallout 4. I'm like, go through it, collect everything I need to, kill them all. Just.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all the stories play out and like what their end game is going to be. Because I mean, clearly like the sky's the limit. Like I don't think there's any real like definitive, well, this is how it has to end, because again, it's like the concept of we know a handful of things that happened during the old Republic and Star Wars, so they can literally kind of go hog wild. And same thing with like the High Republic era.
Yeah,
there's a lot that they can do, and it's not really going to affect a ton of stuff. But it'd just be nice to see like, oh hey, by the way.
Yeah, I'm really curious what they're gonna do with New Vegas. I hope we're gonna see mutants and death claws and synths. I would love to see a bunch of that stuff. I would like to see. I'd like to see some more of the factions come in. Maybe by now the Minutemen have made it over to the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see a hand crank rifle too. You gotta give me the hand cranked rifle. Yeah. Oh.
I'd love to see some more like the wacky weapons, like the like ray gun type things. And
they did give us a junk jet. I was really surprised they gave us a junk jet.
Yeah,
that was good.
I just wonder if they'll ever have anybody use one of the mini nuke launchers.
Oh, they have to. They have to.
Or was it Liberty Prime?
So my son told me, and now I'm pissed because it's not the ending I did for Fallout 4. I'm on another playthrough anyway, but my son told me that you can use Liberty Prime to crash the Pridwin. And now I'm like, I didn't have to just go through and kill all the Brotherhood of Steel, because of course I did. I meticulously killed everybody that I could, and you can apparently crash the Pridwin with Liberty Prime, and now I have to play all the way through the whole goddamn game again so I can do that. Just do that.
So you can walk up to them and just start hawking mini nukes at them. What does it say? Is there a vault with a bunch of psychotic clones of a guy, and all they can say eight's their name? I don't know. I don't understand that reference. I don't know if I'm missing something, but I think the what is it? I don't know. I hope. I mean, we've gotten so many weird things lately, like the fact that with Figure Arts did the Rebel Moon figures.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, did anybody really ask for that? But
holy shit, did they put out a lot of them too?
Well, so Figure Arts they've only got 3, but then Diamond Select put out, I think, 2. And it's just like, okay. I mean, it is. I mean, I'm getting the Figure Arts Jimmy, because I mean, why would I not want a robot with like antlers on its head?
Sure.
But It would be nice if somebody would give us like actual good figures. Um, I mean, McFarlane could have killed it. They really could have, but they're like, we're gonna do statues. It's just like,
Yeah,
why?
the
Is
statue.
anybody really buying your new movie Maniacs? Because realistically speaking, all you're doing are Warner Brothers movies for the most part.
Yeah,
And it's like, okay, you did Ted from Ted Lasso, you're doing the dude, you did Alan from The Hangover, you did Gandalf and Harry Potter, and it's just like movie Maniacs was built off of like horror characters and like dark, you know. It would
yeah,
have just been nice to get decent figures. I mean, they obviously sold well, but I'm
yeah.
guessing they sold well after the show came out because, at first everybody was like, statues, and then they watched the show and they're like, I really like all these characters. I better get them so I can have representation.
Yeah, McFarlane has to do something better with the Fallout license because
Well, that's what I'm saying. It would be nice if like Figure Arts would make the Fallout
yeah,
figures. And Vault 108, and the guy is Gary. Just walks around, Gary, Gary, Gary. But yeah, I don't. It's a great show.
I don't know. I really, as far as a video game show, it's fantastic. I mean, they didn't skimp on the effects, except they didn't get any of my fusion cars. They pretty much hit all the bases. Did you notice that when the ghoul in the last episode, um, sorry, spoilers, guys, again. In the last episode, when he kills the knights, and he says there's a flaw in their armor, and then when he was fighting Maximus, he couldn't take Maximus down, and in the episode before that, Maximus asks Knight Titus if he says, I noticed you made some improvements to your armor or something like that, and that you have extra armor or something like that. And it's like that's why he couldn't take Maximus down right away with one shot. Like he could take down the other guys who didn't stay there.
I
And
mean,
I was like, there's a second episode and a last episode reference that you have to go backtrack in your head to find it.
I mean, it definitely could have been that, but at the same time, like Spike was saying, is maybe he wasn't trying to kill Maximus. Maybe he could tell that Maximus wasn't the rightful owner of that armor.
Maybe.
I mean, because
You didn't have trouble killing that kid. I mean, like, didn't seem to have trouble killing anybody. So
true, but
he didn't kill the dog, and that's what put him on a redemption arc with my entire family.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he would
I
have killed the dog. Everybody's like, "Fuck him." But no.
I still think it was funny that like he cuts her finger off and then she gets like a weird like blue finger. And I was just like, wait, what? Why is he sewing a finger on her before he cuts her open and takes all the organs?
Night, Mike.
Have a good one, Mike.
Yeah,
Like he was
Super Spike's got a bunch of good points too. I don't know, man. It's like, but a well-written show shouldn't be cut and dry. Everybody, it should, it's like art. It's up to interpretation.
Here's the part I missed. Did the ghoul get his finger back? Did he lose
Yeah, he sewed it on when he was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He did his finger off, and he was sewing it on when he was meeting the president.
That's right.
That area he was.
That's right. And then,
glory to him, man. He sewed it back on and was working right away.
Well, I mean, I'm just surprised he couldn't just like hold it there. and let it do its thing, you know, let him heal or whatever.
Yeah.
That was the other thing too, is like she obviously went, you know, she went a little bit longer and she was all jacked up, you know, like
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's just, and she heard like, oh, okay, like, cool, it works. It's like I don't think that's how it works.
Yeah. I mean, last episode, her finger's still gray.
Yeah. It's like you gotta reattach all those tendons and the muscles and the cartilage. Yeah. The Ghoul is kind of like a Western post-apocalyptic Deadpool with less crazy. I don't want to say less crazy. I think he's just not as doesn't have as many quips to throw at people.
You know, with Matt Berry in there, I'll tell you a quick Matt Berry story. I was working on a Matt Berry impersonation because my buddy, like in last October, my buddy was in like a medically induced coma. And I was messing around. I was talking to my son and I was like doing like Matt Berry's voice kind of. And I was like, I think I've almost landed it. So I walked into the room where my buddy, like to go sit with my buddy for a while. And I was like, hello, Marty. You know, I said it like in the best Matt Berry. I was like, this is Matt Berry. And I was like, just fucking around with it. And he started to freak out. Like he was like shaking and stuff and moving. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, because he's on, like, they had him on this like deep fentanyl drip, right? So like, and I totally forgot that, you know, you're sliding down, you're on ketamine and fentanyl, and you're, you know, this medically induced coma, you're sliding down a K-hole, has no end. And
Yeah.
so of course I'm like, I did that voice and he started to shake and move and freak out. And I'm like, I felt so terrible. I was like, I think I just gave my buddy a terrible flashback about Matt Berry. Like,
it's kind of crazy though.
Yeah.
But that he would respond like that, you know. I don't know what show it was that I always would see the clips from. But he's like in the bar and this lady's got a tray and she starts, you know, and he's like, oh hell, let me grab that for you, you know. And she's like, okay, well, that one's for her and that one's for her, and that, can you give that one to my boyfriend? He's like, fuck off, and he just drops it. Yeah. And the same thing. And then it's the same thing where he's walking on the street and the gal's carrying the fish aquarium. And then she's just like, yeah, my boyfriend. And he's just like, he is so funny. And
what was that?
Like, I love What We Do in the Shadows, the movie. Like, I think that group was, I mean, perfect. I love Jermaine Clement. Like, I know that he's not, but I swear to God, there's like, I think a part of David Bowie's soul went into Jermaine Clement when he passed away. Because there's just like, he looks like Frank Zappa, but he has this very David Bowie like I don't know. It's just, it's so weird. And then like,
trying to find what show that was, but
and then obviously Taika Waititi, like, he's hilarious. I don't know if you've ever seen Our Flag Means Death.
Yeah.
It's just so, like, I never would have ever thought in a million years that he could play like Blackbeard. Like, I know everything's like way like not remotely accurate, but
right,
you know, it's just, I don't know, it's so funny. And I love that episode where in the What We Do in the Shadows, where they have to meet with the vampiric council, and it's the guys from the movie, and it's like Tilda Swinton and Wesley Snipes and Paul Rubens, and it's like all these people who played vampires in other movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just,
Paul Rubens.
hey, I know.
Paul Rubens still has the best vampire death scene of all time. On Buffy. Did it stop? Yeah, that's the best vampire death scene of all time.
Of all time. And then, God, what is his name? He's the guy that played Harvey Bullock in Gotham. And God, he had a TV show for a while too. And he was in Vikings. He played one of the Jarls. I can't remember what his name is, but he plays himself in the TV show. But he's a vampire.
Okay.
And it's just like, out of all the people they could have gotten, like, they picked him. Like, it's just so weird.
The psychic vampire is one of my favorites, just because I know a guy who is him. I mean, looks like him.
Colin.
Jost. I don't know. I can't remember.
I can't remember his name is.
My brain.
No, but I love it. He's like, it's just sitting. Yeah, Donald Logal. Yeah, Lugu. Yeah, he's hilarious. I love it when he dies. And then he comes back and they raise him, and then he's just the same character as he was before.
We're going off track. Matt Berry will take you off track. Now I'm trying to get the IT crowd, and I'm pretty sure he was in Mighty Boosh. And
that show's weird.
Mighty Boosh is one of my favorite shows.
I love it. I love it. And to me, like, I feel like it was like the precursor to everything that Tim and Eric ever did on Adult Swim.
Yeah.
And I hate those guys. I literally cannot stand Tim and Eric. I think their shows, the only one that I kind of liked was Tom Goes to the Mayor. But I just like, I literally sit there and I like that one and like the Tim and Eric show and Eric Andre and God, what's his face? Will Ferrell's buddy.
Chris Kattan.
Which one?
I said Chris Kattan.
No.
Will Ferrell.
He's got the curly hair.
Oh, Riley?
Yeah, John C. Reilly. His show where he plays like the doctor. And like I watch all those shows and I'm like, this is like the worst stuff on TV. I'm like, how in the hell do they get to? I mean, like, I know that they're doing what they're doing because they're writers in Hollywood and stuff, but it's still like, I'm like, this is trash. I could make a way better show with the same exact budget.
Did they do the Heart She Holler too?
I wouldn't be surprised if they had something to do with it.
Yeah.
Because I like there was that one. And that one was kind of weird. The other one that I liked was like Team Law and Order SVU, Special Victims SUV. Like had like a bunch of ridiculous names. Like that one was funny. And the one that had Chris Elliott, where he was supposed to be, it was like Walker, Texas Ranger.
Eagle Heart.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like that one was funny, and Children's Hospital was hilarious.
Children's Hospital was great.
But like, I'm just like, how is it that these people can make just this? Like, who's actually watching this and is entertained by it? Because it's just like, to me, it seems like it was like the lowest form of like entertainment. I would rather watch Joe cartoons all day long. if you remember Joe Cartoon.
I'm trying to think of what Joe Cartoons was.
It was like back in the early 2000s. And on some of them were they were kind of like flash games. Like you could control what happened. It was like the Frog in the Blender and Superfly and stuff like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like those were great. But it's just like I'm like I don't understand how these guys can sit there and just make a video where they're both staring at each other going for like 3 minutes. And I'm like, what?
So there's a point in the night where you're not as high as you were and you're not completely not high.
I don't think that would make a difference for me.
And time will just go by.
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Now you say Chris Elliott. You ever go back and watch the old things that when he was the guy under the stairs on David Letterman?
I forget how long he's been around.
And of course, Cabin Boy.
Yep.
Still one of my favorite movies of all time.
Take my strong hand.
Anybody want to buy a monkey? There.
Yeah, let me mash those potatoes up for you.
Yeah, he's been around forever. He looks exactly the same.
Yeah. Yep. And then then he had the other stuff that was absolutely brilliant, like Robot Chicken or Metalocalypse and Aqua Teen Hunger Force and
it's a figure line, that small little figurine thing of the guys from Death Clock. Yeah, don't tell me you got it.
Oh, I don't have the Death Clock ones. I've got my little meat wad sitting over here.
Oh yeah, they did all those little figures that I never got back in the day.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to try and find that now because I don't see my Master Shake. I definitely know I have all three of them. I don't know where the Frylock is though, because I always kept meaning to like do something to like mod it because he didn't have a stand. No. So you could literally only like set him on the edge of something because of his goatee, and it was flat on the bottom because obviously it was like a fry thing. So it would sit on the edge of something, but I always wanted to be floating, and I never got around to ever making a stand. But Josh, that's right. He was in Groundhog's Day. I forgot about that. Another great movie.
Well, we could talk about Fallout some more, but I think I got to head out for the night.
Right on. Yeah, I suppose I was about to look for my watch.
There's so much to unpack about that stinking show.
Yeah, it's wild. It's very good. Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to say.
What's that?
I was just going to say earlier. It's very interesting to see like the progression that Amazon's been going through. Like, I didn't hate the Rings of Power. I know a lot of people were like, but like for me, being a huge Tolkien fan, it was nice to not know where they were going with it. It was almost like a game. So when you meet the stranger, like the way he looks, you're immediately like, he's Gandalf. But then the way they start talking and they're like, oh, well, maybe he is Sauron and all this other crazy stuff. So it was kind of it was like a game, basically.
They could have made that show.
What's that?
For me, they could have made that show a million times better by just backing off a little bit on the slow motion. I was getting a little tired of the slow-mo.
Yeah.
You know, it's like at the point where I'm like sitting there thinking, like, well, the good guys are losing because the orcs are always moving at normal fucking speed. And every time you see a good guy, they're like, they're just like slow. God, it was like when 300 came out and everybody was like, all
bullet time.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good. 300. And then everybody was doing that. And everything was that.
Yeah.
And how it just
And, yeah.
messed up the world. And right now,
My
slow
biggest,
motion, shiny sword is just fucking up
yeah,
the
my
fantasy world.
biggest blah about the whole thing was Galadriel. It was like, we're not talking about like a giant chunk of time between what's now and when we see her again. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, she's such a whiny bitch in this. Like, she just, I'm like, where is this like ethereal goddess that, that we've seen multiple times? But I'm getting way off topic. To see that and then to see Fallout and how excellent that is, oh man, does it give me massive hopes
They
that
just,
the Warhammer 40K series that Henry Cavill is going to do for them
yeah.
is just going to be outstanding.
Just don't give me like how they did me dirty with The Tick on Amazon. Is they gave me 2 seasons of it, and I was like, by season 2, I was like, okay, I'm invested. This Peter Serafinowicz Tick, he now has my heart. I love him.
Yeah.
I think I'm into this storyline. They're like, we're canceling it because I was like, oh.
The only person that's watching it is Joe and Tony. Because I watched it and I liked it.
I've watched it like maybe 10 times. It's I need my tick fix.
Yeah. Maybe someday we'll get an awesome Tick movie. But
Yeah.
Can't win them all.
Yeah. They just like to hurt me. They like to hurt me. They hurt me with Venture Brothers, and I still haven't seen the final movie. I'm just afraid to.
You just don't want it to be officially over.
Yeah, I don't want closure.
That's like the same thing with me with the Metalocalypse movie. I haven't watched it yet.
No, me neither.
And it's just because I'm like, no. I still think it's hilarious that they had what is his name? Saturday Night Live comedian, obviously. Tracy Morgan. I love that they had Tracy Morgan come in and voice early for the final season of Squidbillies.
Didn't see that.
Did you hear what happened? Right?
Yeah.
Which makes me go, wait, what? Did anybody ever watch this show? Because I feel like maybe they took something out of context, like he was trying to be early and somebody thought he was being serious. I'm not like trying to justify what the dude said, but still, I'm just like, if you ever watch that show, like none of the characters are, they're all racist.
Early was kind of based on him.
Sure.
And, it's kind of bummed. One of my friends just went to his shows all the time, really just was into his shows. Every time he'd play in Minneapolis, he'd be there. And he actually played Minneapolis quite a few times. And then he's like, just says a bunch of dirtball shit. He's like, I can't wear my 30 shirts I have of him.
Yeah, I guess you're going to have to put those away.
Yeah. And I did enjoy Squidbillies because it was just stupid fun.
Oh, yeah. It was, yeah. Anything, yeah, it was ridiculous and it was hilarious and stupid and oh well.
Yeah, I have all those DVDs. I have everything, like all the Aqua Teen Hunger Force. I have the DVDs hidden and stored because now I'm like at this point where like I don't like having boxes and boxes full of DVDs, but I have no idea when somebody's just going to take it out of circulation. I'll never be able to see it again. So like,
yeah,
what am I supposed to do? Like, because I want to show when my son gets a little older, I want to show him a bunch of these shows, let him like start introducing him to Aqua Teen Hunger Force. It's like this is really this is really stupid, horrible, awful animation, but it's just fun and pointless.
I still love the live action episode where H. John Benjamin was Master Shake and T-Pain was Frylock, and they had I think it was like a beach ball was meat wad.
Have you seen Boy Kills World yet?
Dude, I want to see that so bad.
I haven't seen it yet, but everybody's telling me I gotta go. Everybody who's seen it tells me I have to go see it.
I love H. John Benjamin so much, and to have him be a voiceover for the main character because he remembers this voice from a video game or something.
Yeah,
it's just like, so great.
That's right.
Love
well,
Archer.
I'm gonna take off. If you want
All
to
right.
talk more Fallout another time after I've digested more, I'd be happy.
For sure, man. It was good chatting with you. I'll let you get to it. And
you gonna pop by Northland at all on?
Possibly. I'm gonna see if I drag the family out there.
Cool. All right.
So, all right, man.
Good night, everybody.
It's good to see you again, Joe. And if you guys all know what that means, time to throw up those horns, and we will catch you next time. You know the drill. You know all the stuff on the bottom there. Instagram. You can find all the socials on Dave's for donating and this and that and blah 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 and all that stuff. And Dave's way better at this than me, so I'll get there one of these days.
You're the finest salesman I've ever heard, my friend.
I'm just real. Have a good one, everybody.
Have a good night.